welcome back to my channel, Reading with Casey. So I thought today I would do kind of a different video. So, as you can see, my piano back here hasn't been cleaned in ages. It's super dirty. I noticed it yesterday when I was playing and it was just really dirty. So I thought I need to clean it, but then I thought I could also upload a video simultaneously. So I'm going to be taking through my process of cleaning my piano, but also talking about books I recommend, books I don't recommend. So, you know, it's going to be super fun, and let's get right into it. Alright, so first we need to take everything off the piano, it makes it so much easier to clean. Okay, so we have this. Oh! This off. These. Alright, so while I'm doing all of this, I'm going to talk to you about a book that I recently read. But for that, let's get the spray and a cloth, obviously, quite important. So, I was recently reading a book and it's called Jane Eyre. Some of you might have heard of it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong because I've been told that I pronounce it wrong, but I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, I was reading that. It was with my school. We were doing kind of like, you know, English and stuff, and we were reading this book. It's called Jane Eyre, and it is an old book. It's really, really old, and it was written by Charlotte Bronte, and it's actually surprisingly so good. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed it. The way it was written was actually quite hard to kind of get my head around at first, though. I will say that it's like quite a difficult book to read, mainly because of just like it's in Old English, and it's just, I mean, Old English is hard, and for some reason the spray bottle will not spray, so I need to get another one. Alright, got a new one. So the book follows the journey of Jane Eyre, and she, you know, starts off at the age of 10. So it shows her life when she was 10. She doesn't really stay in her family home for that long, but I'm trying not to spoil too much. I can spoil that what job she gets, I think. So I'm pretty sure it was on the blurb. But either way, it is a lot about, you know, and it's actually really good. It's obviously a romance. I thought it was really fun to read though, because it was a bit of like a reading challenge, just kind of getting my head around what was happening in each scenario, because it was actually quite hard. So if you're looking for looking for like a challenging book to read, or something that kind of require a bit more brain power, then I would definitely recommend it. But also if you're just like looking for a really good romance, it is actually amazing. So yeah. Okay. Another book that I'll recommend, it's more of like a book series, but I found it in Waterstones and I thought it was just so good. It is Three Dark Crowns. So it follows kind of the story of these three girls. I think they were like 16, I don't know, probably 16. And basically they're all triplets and they're taken in by different families. The Poisoner family, the Naturalist family, and the Elemental family, and they were all born by the queen before them, and basically they need to kill each other in the end. So from a very young age they were brought up, you know, training their abilities and all of that, and yeah, they're basically brought up to kill each other so that they can be the next queen. The Poisoner queens have reigned for quite a while before. Yeah, I just think it's really good. I found it, Waterstones picked it up, had a look at the blurb, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this sounds so good. And it is really good. But it is a series, and it does leave on a cliffhanger, so if you do read it, be prepared that you'll need to buy 4 more, I'm pretty sure. I think it's a 5-book series. I kind of forgot now. Because I only have the one starting book. I didn't buy all the rest, sadly. I just borrowed them from libraries and stuff, so obviously I had to return them, and yeah. Yeah, I definitely recommend that. That is a really, really good series to read. Look at all that dust that's just built up. Oh my gosh, I really need to clean this more often. Alright, so now I think we're going to talk about, how have I already forgotten what it's called? I have forgotten what it's called. Oh yeah, This Book Kills, that's it. This Book Kills, right. It is a really good book, it has such a good plot. The ending is very, very good. I loved it. But in the middle, it does drag on for quite a bit. Like, I found myself kind of not exactly enjoying it when it was the middle, just because there's kind of this huge part where not much really happens, and it's just quite boring in my opinion. But the start and the end I thought were great, like really great. Like, she did so well with it. It's just that middle part. I just don't know what was there. It just nothing was really happening, and it was really boring. But apart from that, it was a good book. So, moving on. The Girl of Ink and Stars. I did review that book, and I will never, ever, 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 ever stop recommending it because it is such a good book. It is like my comfort book. I just love it so much. Oh. I feel like the plot is amazing. I love it, and I will always love it. So that's my opinion on that. I did actually review that book, like I said, and I did give it a 9 out of 10. I'm thinking of moving it up to a 10 out of 10, even though nothing is perfection, but it was just so good. I absolutely loved it. Alright, now the Wolf Brothers series, or the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. I loved it. It was one of like the first series where I was like really into it, I remember one of my primary school teachers introduced me to the book because like we were reading it with the class, and I had gone off and I bought all the other books. I read all the other books, and I found them so good, so entertaining. I will admit, there is some flaws. Like the Soul Eater book and the Spirit Walker book are not that interesting. Like, I did not enjoy they just weren't as enjoyable as all the other books. The first book I love, obviously then Soul Eater. Outcast is actually really good. I love Outcast. It's just a really good book. It's written by Michelle Paver, who actually got me into like starting writing and stuff like that. So I feel like I will always just love those books, you know? They're just so good and I love them. Another series is Murder Most Maybe Like. I know that book has been quite popular recently, so I'm sure a lot of you will know it. It's a really good series. And for those who don't know it, it just follows the journey of these two girls. Their names are Daisy and Hazel. Daisy is kind of the more outgoing one in their little friend group. Well, not in a group, but you know, she is very outgoing, and she's just outgoing really. Hazel starts off really shy, but there is like huge character development throughout the series. Like, Hazel changes so much, and it's actually quite insane how much she changes. Like, she goes from being all shy and timid, and like all of a sudden she's like a lot more outgoing, like Daisy, you know, which I think is great. My favorite book is A Spoonful of Murder out of that series, and I feel like I only really like it just because it focuses more on Hazel's story, and she's my favorite out of the two. So, you know, that's nice. Okay. Oh, and the Inheritance games also trending right now. I tried reading the first one. I don't know, it just wasn't really my thing. I don't know why, it just didn't sit right with me. I will admit, I didn't actually read that much of it, but I could tell that it wasn't for me, you know, and I tried reading it, didn't like it, which is perfectly fine. You guys may try reading all the books that I recommend, and you might not like them, and you might think, what is she talking about? These books are horrible. You know, we all have different tastes and stuff. I just personally just didn't like the books, or kind of the plot as well. The plot wasn't really my thing, because right now I'm into like dark fantasy kind of stuff. And I know, probably a bad choice because that's not really dark fantasy, is it? But yeah. If you guys don't know, I know a little bit about the book. I kind of forgot most of it now. But it is about this girl. Her name's Avery. She inherits like a ton. I forgot which relative it was, but they died, and she inherited like a ton of stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil who she gets with because I do know from a friend who's obsessed with it. But yeah. Okay. Let's just clean this part. It is really dirty under here. This might be the dirtiest part of like the entire piano. Alright, so let's move on to my favourite genres. So, I really like, I used to be really obsessed with murder mysteries, like, way more obsessed than I am now. Like, I would live and breathe murder mysteries. Like, it was just my thing. It was great. You know, I loved them. But I've kind of outgrown them now. Like, if you tell me to read this murder mystery, it's so good. Like, One of Us is Lying. Because I've already outgrown that phase from reading all of the Murder Mystery and Lady Night books, I don't know, I just feel like it's just gone. It's just dead, and I wouldn't read them anymore. So I'll probably never read One of Us is Lying, although I've heard great things about it, and I bet you it is a great book. Just not for me currently. I've kind of moved on to, like I said, dark fantasy books. I just find them so entertaining and just so dark and mysterious, and I was never into anything like that before, and I feel like it's just because it's so different from what I usually read that I'm enjoying it so much. I do love romance, but I was reading the Shatter Me series. It was a while ago. I don't have the books with me again. I just borrowed them from the library. But I was reading it, and I loved the main plot, like the fact that it's about this girl and she has like these powers that like if somebody touches her then they die, and then it's actually it was such a good plot, but I hated how it focused so much on the romance of it. Like, I love romance, like you'll catch me reading a romance book like anytime, but I really liked the plot that I read on the blurb. I didn't like how romance focused it was because it was distracting from the main plot. Like, most of the writing was about the romance of it, so I just felt like it just wasn't working for me because I wasn't really getting what I thought I would. It wasn't how I expected it to be. Like, I don't mind romance, but don't overcrowd the plot bit, you know what I mean? Unless the plot is romance. Then obviously, you know, do what you want with it. But yeah, those are my personal views, obviously. I know a lot of people really enjoy the Shatter Me series, actually. So, you know, don't feel like you can't read it anymore, or don't feel like, you know. Yeah, so that is that, I guess. Okay. Alright, so back to romance. I love a good romance book. Like, an easy read romance book is always something that I'm open to. I recently read one. I forgot what the name was now because it was I don't have it with me like at home anymore. I borrowed it from the library, but it was a really good easy read romance book. It was set in China and it was just so good. I loved it. It was so easy to read, and I read it pretty quickly as well, just because it was so easy to read. And you know, it was great. I just loved it. But yeah, that was good. Obviously, the Davenports, whatever it's called. I also reviewed that on my channel. You know how I feel about that book. Yeah, so I feel like that was great. Oh my gosh. I do like a mystery though. Oh, there's a really good book. It's similar to the book by Oscar Wilde. I've already forgotten what it's called. If you've read it though, you obviously know it. It's called Every Exquisite Thing. It's about these girls that go to this school for acting, and it's very competitive there, and it's based around this girl. I forgot her name already because again I borrowed it from school, so I don't have it with me, so I didn't have like the opportunity to reread it. But yeah, it's based around this girl and goes to school. It's really competitive there, and her mother is an actress, so she feels like she needs to go to the school, you know, kind of prove that, no, kind of be like her, I guess. And she's very, very, she does have like body image issues and stuff like that. But then a mysterious painter comes along. I don't know how much to spoil because I can't go and read the blurb to see how much they actually tell you. But basically, it is super, super good, and I do really recommend it. Yeah, so that is that. These keys are so dirty. I didn't even know I was playing on them. Yeah, so we have that, which is really good. There's also the Society for Soulless Girls, which is the same author. I haven't actually read that book, but might soon. But yeah. So there's also that one. There's also You Could Be So Pretty, which I also haven't read, but I've really heard great things about it. I'm thinking of, you know, getting it for myself and reading it and seeing what's up with it and stuff like that. Okay. I think we are nearly done here. It's just the keys are so dirty, and I need to go get some paper towels to just dry it all off a little bit. Oh, and I'm also currently reading Mansfield's House by Jane Austen, and that is going good for me. I'm currently really enjoying it. It is actually, I actually find it harder to understand than Charlotte Bronte. I think it's mainly because I'm so used to Charlotte Bronte's way of writing now, because, you know, I just read a whole book by her. And because obviously Jane Austen writes in a different way to Charlotte Bronte, it is kind of hard just understanding what she's saying and all of that. But, you know, I'll understand it soon. I'm understanding like the basics of it, but not in as much depth as I would have Charlotte Bronte. Yeah, so that's what I'm currently reading. I also read Good Girls Stay Quiet, and I'm going to review that soon on my channel. So I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I want to save things to talk about. But, really good book. It is kind of horror. Not really horror, but it is a little bit scary in some parts. So I would say not for a reader who usually reads summer romances, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's quite dark. It has a little bit of romance in it, not too much. Like again, not overshadowing the plot, which I really like about it, because I just can't read a book that has such a good plot, and then it's kind of ruined by the romance, even though the romance is so cute and so nice. So yeah, let's see if I can clean off these keys. Oh, and finally, another book that I really like is the Poison Heart sequel. Oh yeah, my piano does a really cool thing. Like this thing. I don't know if this is for all pianos or something. I don't know, I just thought it was cool. You can fold it up, put it inside, so it doesn't block the way. I just thought that was fun. Anyways, Poison Heart series. So, that is a sequel, and it is basically about this girl, and she has these powers that can like trees lean towards her. She can grow flowers, and she's immune to all poisons, obviously, because they're plant-based. So, you know, things like belladonna, for example, she wouldn't be affected by it. Belladonna is yeah, it's bad. So yeah. Yeah, I just think it's really good. It is based a little on Greek mythology, like not Percy Jackson, like that much, but it is based quite a bit on it, I would say. So, you know, not too much. Yeah, it's really good, and I love the plot. Has a little bit of romance to it. There are some things that'll make you go, oh my god, what? But those are always fun, aren't they? So, that will be great. Alright, so I think that's all the book stuff I can think to talk about. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll meet back after that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a change of pace, but you know, it was a little bit more interesting than me just sitting here and chatting at you. So be sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed, and leave a comment if you have any opinions on the books I talked about, or just any books in general. I'll be happy to read them, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!